problematic for me being a part of, you say, the LGBTQ community, because those others are sexual orientations. Transgender is a gender. It's not an orientation. So it's just to lump us in that category. It just creates all sorts of confusion.
It creates all sorts of confusion for people like you who just try to disassociate your... Listen, you're trying to make two... It's like you're creating... This is like classic straw man argument right here. Tell you how. You're trying to disassociate yourself from the T just to hammer home your point about your gender. So you're like, we're women. So that means we're not really just... Like the T isn't part of an orientation. You know what I mean? That's what you're saying, but it's really not true. That's why it's in there. The main supporters that trans people have are members of the LGBTQ. So stop it with the you say we're part of that group. It creates confusion. You're trying to create the confusion right now. Now, the fact that people would even want to have this conversation without straight men being involved is beyond me. This is T.S. Madison had a problem with something Kendra G said on her show. Let's get into this, because there's some interesting things that were said on both ends about men that men need to talk about, because we are like the topic of discussion on here.
Right here.
I am a transgender woman.
Oh, so you were born a man?
Yes.
Okay. I guess you feel you was born a woman in a male's body?
Yeah, it's all good.
Okay, I feel like I'm defending you. How do you want me to articulate it?
I'm not defending.
Okay.
I'm not defending at all.
So now what kind of...
Right. Now, that's an interesting point of the conversation, because Kendra was trying to relate to her. Let's remember that she's professionally media trained, and she does this every day. She talks to people. So she was trying to relate to her. So you guess you were really born a woman just in a man's body. Like, she's trying to relate to her. And the trans person said, I'm not offended at all. No, you're not offending me. But yet, we get a video from T.S. Madison offended. It's the problem with the internet. People just get to pull offended about the air when it ain't none there to pull. Just making up offended. Sean, tell you, if it was a market for being offended, you know how many trillionaires there would be in this world?
What are you looking for? Do you...
Hold on. Oh, you were born a man. She immediately went to start to say, oh, am I being offensive to you? I want to make sure that I don't offend. Now, you know this.
Right,
So
because
now
she
what
was
kind of...
reading her facial expression. She's professional at what she does. And she was making sure, being that not only is she branded, she has a national brand. She making sure she don't say the wrong thing. Not even just for her brand, but for the fact she went on to say she got trans people. So she wasn't trying to offend her. For business and for personal. She just wasn't being offensive.
What are you looking for? Do you want a gay man? Like, what is the type of guy you're looking for?
No, gay men, Kendra.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Here we are.
Here we go.
Here we go.
From the door.
Have entered the chat.
Oh, you want a gay man? Here we go from the door. Here we are from the door.
Here we are from the door. Straight men have entered the chat. Hello, how you doing? We're straight. You don't get to change how straight people feel. You could call it any type of phobic you want. You could literally make up a new phobic to call it. But you won't change how straight people view being straight. And I don't think that there's a person that deals with trans people that isn't bisexual. They won't call themselves that. There's no men. I don't think there is. I don't know where's the example at. There's no men who deal with trans women that call themselves straight. I just have not heard of any. Any man that deals with you, T.S. Madison, any man that would deal with you, T.S. Madison, is dealt with men before. He's not straight. So you can call it whatever you want to call it. But we're not about to play with this topic because it's never going to change. And it's only going to make people uncomfortable trying to change something that will not budge an inch. Like will not budge an inch ever in this conversation. It will never budge one iota on how straight people view certain things. It will never change. Call it whatever you want to call it. It will never change.
All right. If you are a TERF, I'm okay with that.
A TERF is a woman who is not okay with trans women being like them. That's a TERF, basically.
I'm all right. If you trans, exclusionary rights for females only, I'm all right with that, bitch. But stand on it. And don't play in my motherfucking face.
You don't want people to really do that. You don't. You're just saying that. That's just something to say in front of a mic that sound good. I be in front of a mic too. I know stuff that sound good that really don't be nothing. Stand on it. That sound good when I said it. But no. You don't want people to do that because you're going to get to doing videos and offended because you're offended about something that wasn't even meant to offend or, dare I say, even offensive at all, and you was offended. So you don't want nobody to stand on, being a TERF. You don't want women to do that. You do not want that. You know you don't. Stop playing.
What you want, a gay man? You, as a woman, don't want a gay man. You don't.
I'm a straight cis woman and was offended as heck. Why? That's part of the problem too. It be people in the comments egging on a beef that they're not even part of. Why were you offended by that? Mind your damn business.
Get up out of your bed every day and look like a woman for a gay man to be hitting on you because you're a woman. So you don't get up out of your bed on a day-to-day basis and walk outside and seeking a gay man.
It's interesting how that doesn't work when it comes to like being a stud. They wake up and are interested in women but present like men to attract women. So what's the difference? Oh, you being offended is the only difference. I know the difference. That was rhetorical. You don't got to answer that question. I'm smart enough.
I'm going to roll back.
Roll back to this comment right here because this is an interesting comment. This guy says he's a gay man and would only date a gay trans man. Now, I guess he's trying to validate the point that as a gay man, he wouldn't date a trans woman. But it's making him look just as like them because the trans man was born a woman. So it's like the point that I was just making about the studs. So he was really just capping. Or else, yeah, he was capping.
Stay with me here.
He tried it, though.
Because usually gay men's that are seeking gay men's are looking for men. So you, as a heterosexual, real woman, born a woman.
Why are you, first of all, stop air quoting that. Put some respect on that. But you talking about straight men, though. So why are you trying to talk to Kendra about dating straight men? When you know damn well straight men don't view that as that. I want y'all to pay attention to this, though, because this was an interesting exchange.
So let's try to see. This becomes an issue for me because if you notice how the conversation shifted completely, because initially you didn't know that I was transgender, and men don't know. But the moment I say something, the whole dynamic shifts. Kendra, I am not obligated to tell anyone anything if I'm not going to pursue something with them. So if I'm out of...
First of all, you're on the dating show, but the reason she's saying this is because Kendra was saying, out of love, too, that in the climate that we're in, with all the things that's happening to trans people, that she feels like it would be best for you to disclose. And this was the response. I don't have to disclose anything if I'm not romantically involved. But yet you're on a dating show looking for a man. But then you mad that the conversation shifted to you being trans. That is a major part of your selection process. You're not just gonna get any man as a trans woman. You're not gonna do it. So why are we acting like you are? That's stupid to even do. Like, that's naive as hell. Like, come on now.
A bar or something, and typically I'm in the house by 9 p.m. If I am out, someone wants to buy me a drink, I don't have to say, hey, by the way, I'm such and such. No. But of course, if I'm seeking something more in depth, then yes, that is a conversation that must be had. But no, it's much easier for you to tell me what I should do because you're not trained.
I understand that. I mean, obviously I'm not trans. I can't relate to certain stuff, but I get that. But she was specifically talking about dating. You're on a dating show looking for a man. So, like, this is what she was talking about. That's what she was talking about. She wasn't talking about just random. Maybe she was, but no, you're on a dating show.
Gender. It is extremely risky. It's extremely dangerous. I'm not being deceiving because I made it very clear to you what my gender was.
But listen. And this is where Kendra was trying to help. You can't not accept the help. It's extremely dangerous to not. So it's just extremely dangerous, period. But wouldn't you feel safer with someone that's okay with everything that they know? Wouldn't you feel safer with a guy buying you a drink that knows you're trans? Because you know how it can turn into something else? Wouldn't you just want somebody to know? Like, yeah, we can see it. It can get dangerous. He could be homophobic, transphobic. It might be somebody disrespect you. However, but in terms of it, it's more dangerous for you not to disclose. And I don't see why you wouldn't think that. I don't get that. Somebody tell me why.
I didn't have to say anything. Please forgive me for appearing defensive because it's nothing directed towards you, but I am exhausted. I was super excited to get on your show. I was hoping not to spend so much time on my gender. That is something for me.
And she said that is the same reason why T.S. Madison did it. People just reaching to be offended about shit because the topic is popular.
The person who's interested for us to discuss. I don't think that you would be appreciative if someone were to ask you about your genitals because that's no one's business. That's just, it's very invasive.
See, this is where the dating markets cross, because cis men and women, and I'm air quoting it because I don't respect the term. Cis men and women talk about sex all the time. Now you got women, it's offensive. Guys always want to have sex. It's a turn off to bring up sex. Yeah, cool, we know that. Them be the people you don't like. But for a lot of the rest of us, people talk about sex all the time. But now, because your situation, you're saying talking about sex to you is evasive. She's a grown woman. Talking to her about her chocolate pussy is not offensive. But talking to you about your genitalia is. And you won't even recognize why or understand that there's a difference between you and Kendra when it comes to a conversation of genitalia. But you try to use it as a reference and you can't.
And and this is, it's kind of problematic for me being a part of, you say, the LGBTQ community because those others are sexual orientations. Transgender is a gender. It's not an orientation. So it's just, to lump us in that category, it just creates all sorts of confusion.
It creates all sorts of confusion for people like you who just try to disassociate your... Listen, you're trying to make two... It's like you're creating... This is like classic straw man argument right here. Tell you how. You're trying to disassociate yourself from the T just to hammer home your point about your gender. So you're like, we're women. So that means we're not really just... Like, the T isn't part of an orientation. You know what I mean? That's what you're saying, but it's really not true. That's why it's in there. The main supporters that trans people have are members of the LGBTQ. So stop it with the you say we're part of that group. It creates confusion. You're trying to create the confusion right now. You and Madison T.S. Madison. No, not letting you do it.
think when I have something to say, it's all a part of white supremacy. I can't fault them. I'm not mad at them. For those who have something negative to say regarding my gender, I understand. I understand the trauma, so that's fine.
You said white supremacy?
And trauma.
It's all a part of white supremacy, the hatred that we have for blacks who.
Do we really playing a race card? What are we doing here? People should have a certain amount of race cards that they get to play before you run out. It's all a part of white supremacy, so now people don't respect your pronouns or whatever, they being white supremacists. That's different right there. That might be the best thing you said. That's creative. I like creativity. That one was creative right there. I can't get mad at that. When you really boil down it, that one was creative. It was false and irresponsible, but it was very creative. I appreciate that one.
Who may not fit that heteronormative narrative. I'm not mad at them, but please highlight me.
Heteronormative has changed by T.S. Madison and by you and by people who trying to tell straight men what being straight is. Listen, let me tell you why that's a problem. Because you're never gonna budge the needle an inch. So people gonna get offended and do all this stuff and call all these names and try to get people but the needle is literally never gonna move an inch. So just be happy with the people who accept you. Stop trying to change the people who don't. Because you won't. Come on now, this is getting out of hand.